What's up, guys? Welcome back to Streetball Strategies. I know it doesn't look like it, but it's almost winter. It's almost Christmas out here, and the way I use winter usually is as a planning phase, as a preparatory phase for the next 4 months to prepare for the spring. So how am I going to use my time over the next 4 months in order to prepare and plan for next spring? And I've made videos about how you should develop your love of the game first when you're deciding to get involved with basketball. I've made videos about how to actually start your legacy after you have established your love for the game. And I was also thinking about what if during this winter, during this preparatory planning phase over the next 4 months, what if I were a newbie? What if I were a beginner? What if I decided that come spring I wanted to get out on the court for the first time as a participating competitive player, but I didn't really know how to get started in terms of I don't even know where I should be on the court. I didn't understand if I should be one of the guys who spends a lot of time down by the basket, or if I should be one of the guys who spends a lot of time out by the three-point line. What if I was just getting started and I didn't know where I should be on the basketball court? So today I thought we'd talk about a basketball beginner's guide. Where do you belong on the court? Essentially, where should you play on the court? So one of the great things about the game for beginners, for someone who's just beginning to play it and beginning to understand it, is that it can be broken down into very simple concepts. Also, one of the great things about basketball is that everybody has to do everything in terms of skills and abilities on the basketball court eventually. Everybody has to do everything eventually. For example, in baseball, pitchers only have to pitch the ball. No one else has to pitch a baseball. In football, a defensive lineman only has to defend the line. They don't go out for passes, they don't defend receivers, they just play the line. In basketball, everybody does everything eventually. And because of that, you can break down the basic basketball skills and then ask yourself, how natural do those skills feel to you? Because you're a beginner, this is not about the skill that you have, because you don't have much skill yet. You're still developing it. So these questions that you're going to ask yourself in order to determine where you should be playing on the court are all about how natural do these things feel to you. So let's start off with the most basic basketball skill, which is movement. How does movement feel to you? How natural does it feel to you? I'll give you examples as we go along of myself. So for me, when it comes to movement, it's natural for me to be moving a lot and moving quickly. And because I need a lot of movement in my game, I need a lot of space in order to have that movement take place. Usually, a lot of open space takes place around the perimeter of the court, around the three-point line. Because of that, I find myself spending the majority of my time around the three-point line because that's where I use my movement. If you're a bigger guy, if you're a more stationary player, if you have heavier feet and thus you're not going to be moving as much, you're probably going to find yourself more towards the basket where movement is not as necessary and there's more congestion of players, thus movement is more difficult anyway. Second of all, let's get a little bit more specific, so let's talk offense. The most basic offensive skill is dribbling. So how natural does dribbling feel to you? Does it feel natural for you to be dribbling the ball a lot, or does it kind of feel uncomfortable to be dribbling the ball? For me, When I first got a basketball, I didn't even have a basket, but that was fine with me because dribbling felt natural and it was enjoyable, so I just spent a whole lot of time just dribbling the ball without any kind of basket around. Usually and traditionally, players who feel naturally comfortable dribbling the ball usually do so around the perimeter and three-point line of the court. Because dribbling the ball is used to set up scoring opportunities, whether for themselves or for other players, usually you need room to operate while you're dribbling, and usually you get that around the three-point line of the court. But there's a caveat in the game today as it is evolving, which is bigger players who are usually closer to the basket, they now have a broader skill set, and thus they are more comfortable dribbling the ball, and they can get the ball down by the basket. They can dribble their way down there, and then once they're down there, they can use that position to either set up scoring opportunities for themselves or pass the ball back out to the perimeter to smaller guards who then can get open jump shots. But traditionally, the more comfortable and natural dribbling feels to you, the further away from the basket you are, because you're trying to set up scoring opportunities, usually for other people. And the less comfortable, the less natural dribbling feels to you, it's going to put you more towards the basket to have the ball passed to you. That way, because you're already close to the basket, you don't have to do a whole lot of dribbling. You can just focus on either getting yourself a shot or waiting to pass to other open players. Passing is a little less obvious because everybody has to pass the ball, and the ball can be passed from any part of the court, any position on the court, proficiently in order to create scoring opportunities. As I was just talking about how big guys in the paint can pass out to open shooters on the three-point line, but traditionally, the more comfortable you are with passing the ball, usually, again, passing happens around the perimeter and from the perimeter, from the three-point line into the paint to players who have an easier shot at the basket. So traditionally, if passing feels natural to you, you would be a perimeter player trying to pass the ball around the court, especially inside to players who can score the ball easily. But this is definitely one of those situations that you need to test yourself and experience for yourself. Does it feel natural to you to pass the ball from the outside in, or to be on the inside and pass the ball from the inside by the basket out to the three-point line where you could have open shooters? In that sense, because passing is so universal, it's a little less indicative of where you should play on the court. It's just one of those things that you need to experiment with and see what feels more natural to you, playing inside out or outside in when it comes to passing the ball. Shooting is kind of the opposite of that in terms of how indicative it can be of where you belong on the court, because certain players shoot the ball from certain places on the court. So does it feel more natural to you to be shooting three-point shots away from the basket? Is it more natural to you to be shooting sort of mid-range shots halfway between the paint and the three-point line, where you could be shooting either jumpers or runners or hook shots? Or is it more natural to you to be down in the paint, working the post, trying to get shots close to the basket? But there can be some exceptions, like for instance myself. I am a guard. I spend a lot of my time around the perimeter of the basketball court, but as I have pointed out in my three-point video, my three-point problem, which is that even though I'm a guard, even though I spend a lot of time out by the three-point line, I would rather not take three-point shots. I would rather try to get down by the basket and get higher percentage shots closer to the basket. So even though it's natural for me to spend a lot of time out on the top of the court, when it comes to shooting, it feels natural to me to be as close to the basket as I can be when I shoot. So you're going to want to spend a lot of time out on the court really examining where it feels most natural for you to be shooting from in order to help determine what part of the court you should be spending a lot of your time playing on. Let's round things out by talking about rebounding and defense. Everybody has to rebound, but if you find yourself drawn naturally to the rebounding aspect of the game, you're going to find yourself spending a lot of time within 10 feet of the basket, because that's where most rebounds take place. For me, I am not a rebounder. I've never been. It's never felt natural to me, and so I don't spend a lot of time within 10 feet of the basket. I'm usually around the three-point line. That's something that I have experimented a lot over the years with my game, seeing if I can get more and more comfortable with rebounding. And always the general consensus is that, yeah, I can get more comfortable with it, but in terms of how natural does it feel, it just doesn't feel natural for me to be fighting for rebounds within 10 feet of the rim. It feels much more natural for me to be out around the three-point line trying to set up other people to get good scoring opportunities. In terms of defense, again, everybody has to play defense, but it's about where does playing defense feel most comfortable to you? Do you feel more comfortable defending perimeter three-point guards who are usually quicker and have a lot more movement in their game? Does that feel natural to you to be defending those kind of players, or is it more natural to you to be defending bigger, stronger, more stationary players who are usually down around the basket? Usually who you feel more natural defending, what part of the court you feel more natural defending, is usually the part of the court that you're going to spend your time on the most, both offensive and defensively. So that is a basketball beginner's guide. Where do you belong on the court, and where should you play on the court? Figuring that out is going to take a lot of experimenting. It's going to take a lot of you testing yourself to see what you feel comfortable with and what feels natural. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of repetition. It's going to take a lot of you putting yourself in different positions and seeing how it feels to you. Also keep in mind that as you evolve, as you mature, as your game changes, as your body changes, as you get taller or stronger or heavier or lighter, your game is going to change, it's going to evolve, and what you do naturally is also going to change and evolve. And as that happens, you're just going to have to be versatile enough to change and adapt your game as those changes take place. So go ahead and experiment with that stuff, see how it feels, and then implement it into your game as you need to. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this video, if you guys like tips and advice for beginners, please give me a thumbs up. If you do like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and welcome to the new subscribers again who have come into this channel over the last couple months. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying this content, and make sure you hit that notification button so you're notified of all my future videos. Again, over the next few months of winter, I'm trying to figure out how to put out a little more content than usual. I do have those basketball movie reviews that you can go check out that are additional content to consume during the winter when you have more free time, when you can't be training and studying all the time. While you have free time, why not watch some basketball movies? And so I have reviews going up, and there's going to be hopefully more and more videos coming your way over the next few months of winter. So hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next week.